This right here is the PXN V10 Ultra Sim Racing Kit. For $259, you get a direct drive base, a wheel rim with 4 paddles, and a set of pedals. I mean, come on. I've tested rims that cost more than this entire package. So what's hiding under the hood? Let's find out. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and this is the PXN V10 Ultra, a complete direct drive sim racing kit for only $259. So what do you get? A 3.2 Newton meter direct drive wheelbase, a 270mm D-shaped rim wrapped in faux leather with built-in paddle shifters, a 2-pedal set with Hall effect sensors and adjustable angles. It utilizes a USB connection with console and PC compatibility. It's about 10 pounds of total weight, and it'll clamp to your desk, bolt it in your rig, whatever works. It's got 14 buttons, a detachable rim design, software support, and even active cooling built into the base. It's compact, it's budget friendly, and it promises to deliver a full sim racing experience. Now, features are one thing on paper, but it really comes down to how it performs on track. There is no denying that the V10 Ultra is a starter wheel or a starter kit, and it's a combination of its low price, its multi-platform compatibility, and the fact that it comes with desk clamps to just be bolted to a desk. But I gotta tell you, from the moment I started unboxing this wheel, I had pretty high hopes for it, so I threw those desk clamps away and decided to just bolt it right onto a pro-level rig. The V10 Ultra base has no typical bottom mount threaded holes, just this weird plate, more built for that desktop setup. But it lined up with holes on my rig and mounted solidly, though a little differently than normal. Coming in at 3.2 Newton meters, it's not super powerful by today's standards, but comparing it to gear-driven wheels, even the best of them, that's about the same amount of strength. The difference is how clean and friction-free the response feels now that it's direct drive. The V10 is fast in its reactions, which made critical saves possible and helped me feel the car's movement and momentum at all times. The wheelbase was silent, stayed cool while driving, and felt strong compared to any gear-driven wheel. That's where the advantages of a direct drive motor really pay off. The wheel rim that comes with the V10 Ultra kit is kind of basic. I mean, it's mostly made of plastic with exception of the tri-spoke and the paddle shifters, which are metal. It's wrapped in a smooth pleather with a red center stripe and double stitching, and it looks and feels nice in the hands. It's a small wheel, only 270mm, or about 10.5 inches. It's also one of the lightest I've ever held, coming in at just over a pound. That lightweight actually helps with leverage and power delivery. I do like the D-shaped wheel rim. It's kind of round, it's kind of sporty, and it's actually fit for just about any driving situation that you want to throw at it. It's actually not a bad one-wheel-fits-all kind of setup. However, it's very small and some drivers will find that twitchy. Functionally it works well too, but with no bells or whistles, just function. Of the 14 buttons, I can easily reach the top 4 on each side while driving. The more central buttons require a slight adjustment of my hands, but at 270mm, that isn't very far. The buttons are basic, with very little life or feel and only a hint of a click to them. They are also light to the touch. But with 14 total, I was able to map most of my controls that I needed. Mission accomplished. The paddle shifters, 4 in total, well, they leave a little bit to be desired. The upper 2, or the shifter paddles, are very light in resistance, with a good amount of travel that ends in that familiar old school click of a micro switch. They're a little on the flexy side, so if you keep pulling beyond that clicky feel, they just keep moving a little bit. The lower paddles work more like levers, with no click at the end. They're great for clutch, handbrake, or other analog style inputs, and they have the same travel and resistance as the shifter set. And since the pedal set doesn't come with a clutch, you're definitely going to want to map one for race starts. The wheel rim attaches to the base with a slow, quick release that reminds me of the Thrustmaster design. It screws on once the wheel and base are aligned and uses a little flip down switch to prevent unscrewing, which I actually prefer to Thrustmaster's screw. All of this is plastic, but the wheel rim is fairly strong considering its construction. I did notice a hint of twisting at the top of the grip if I gave it the full G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip twist test, and a bit of flex between the base and the wheel rim at that plastic quick release when really tortured. To be fair, I push and pulled on this setup as hard as I would a setup that cost 10 times this much, so all in all, I'm pretty impressed with how it held up there. Now the final component are the pedals. A very basic 2-pedal set with gas and brakes spaced pretty wide apart. You can actually move the pedals inward if you want. I actually grinned when I saw the brake add-on in the box. Finally, a low-cost pedal set that gets it. It locks onto the brake pedal to add a secondary and third level of resistance, turning a very linear pedal into something with much more realistic feel. Both pedals use Hall effect sensors for measurement, which should last a long time, though the brake still lacks the precision of a load cell. On the plus side, the inclusion of pedals makes this kit truly ready to race out of the box. The gas pedal has a fairly long throw, allowing for plenty of control. The spring's a little on the strong side, making it harder to hold full throttle at times or even modulate it smoothly, but it's something I could get used to. The brake pedal also took some adjustment. Its full throttle is the same as the gas, but you rarely need to push it that far. The extra spring and elastomer made it easier to modulate and find that sweet spot for threshold braking. The pedal set is mostly made of metal, and the springs are surprisingly strong for this price point, something I really appreciate in a starter kit. However, with the strength of springs on these pedals, I can't even imagine just putting them on the ground and trying to use them without hard mounting them, so I'm really glad I bolted them down, but that wasn't super simple because the holes didn't line up with my rig. The front ones were fine, but for the back, I made some brackets instead of drilling new holes. It worked out, and I highly recommend mounting yours. Getting this wheel all set up on my rig was really easy with one caveat. I mean, the base bolted right to my rig, the wheel rim slow release attached cleanly, and the pedals, with slight modification, went on my rig easily. The pedals plug directly into the base, along with the USB to your computer or console. There's also a spot on the back of the base for power, a shifter, and other possible expansions. A power button lights up the steering wheel when you turn it on. Now there's no PC software to download, which is actually kind of a bummer because all of the control of the steering wheel is only done through the PXN Wheel app, which actually was a little buggy for me. So I could log in, I could connect my wheel, but I have to be very fast to make any adjustments or settings because it kept disconnecting. Now with a little patience, I was able to do everything that I needed to do with the app, which includes adjusting rotation, anything from 90 degrees up to 1800 degrees. You can do the damping and friction and all those typical Windows type settings, but it is done through the phone app. For console racers, that's extra control, and that is a nice bonus compared to most entry-level gear. A few details that I do want to cover before we move on to our final driving thoughts, and starting off with the base, this entire casing is made of plastic, so despite having that typical DD shape to it, it is all plastic, and then it has this weird housing built around it, including that lower plate. So it is nice for desk clamp setups, that makes a lot of sense, but for people like me with a purpose-built rig, I'd really prefer to see 4-threaded holes on the bottom. I could sit here and nitpick certain details, but to be fair, coming in at $269, this is the least expensive full kit that I've tested in a very long time. And I hammered on this. I didn't treat it like a beginner setup at all in my testing. I went straight to torture testing and demanded the performance I expect from a pro setup, which is a very high bar to clear. While this wheel would lose to those high-tech setups in every category, it still belongs in the ballpark. 10 years ago, this would have been a dreamy pro setup, so let's break it down component by component. The wheelbase is fast reacting and smooth, and precise enough to handle any car or sim that I threw at it. It had enough detail and force feedback to give me the cues I needed to get the most out of the car. From that subtle kick during wheel lockup to the lightening of the wheel on corner exit when the rear end steps out. For example, at COTA, going through the chicane, I could feel the transfer of the weight, and at the same time, I could feel the rumble strips on top of that. Notice I did say subtle. At 3.2 Newton meters, the cues are more like hints than they are punches. I mean, you gotta be a little bit sensitive to what it's telling you. The wheel rim was functional, not outstanding, but fine overall. It was comfortable, handled all the driving styles, and the flex that was there wasn't bothersome. The pedals fit right in with that theme. Functional, getting the job done, and better than I expected at this price point. Thinking back to older Logitech or Thrustmaster setups, we all remember searching for ways to get more out of those brake pedals, modifications, the racquetball mod, all sorts of things. But in this case, PXN thought it through and gave you not only a dual, but a 3-stage brake setup. That alone makes them better than most basic sets. The PXN V10 Ultra Bundle delivered everything I needed. Better than most basic sets. Again, citing COTA, having the ability to actually modulate that throttle pedal to steer the car through those endless chicanes with accuracy. The PXN V10 Ultra Bundle delivered everything I needed and a bit more at an astonishingly low price. If you're already running a mid-range wheel with a load pedal setup, obviously this isn't an upgrade. But if you're sitting there racing on a controller or just getting into sim racing, this is one of the best starter packages that I've seen in a very long time, and it should last you a long time into your sim racing career. Well, I sure hope that I've covered everything that you wondered or would have asked about the PXN V10 Ultra Sim Racing Kit, but to make sure we got everything covered, let's break it down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line. Starting off with the good, and that being an insanely low price for a full direct drive setup, base, rim, and pedals. Surprisingly quick and smooth force feedback. Feels like a real DD, not a toy. Compact, lightweight design that still feels solid. Excellent entry point for newcomers to direct drive or sim racing in general. Quiet operation, no rattles or mechanical slop. Bonus brake mod included. Multi-platform compatibility, PC, Xbox One, Xbox XS, and PS4. Good all-in-one steering wheel. And now on to the not so good, starting off with it is mostly made of plastic, base, and the wheel rim. Very basic buttons and shifters on the wheel. Slight quick release flex. Limited power. Phone app kept disconnecting. No Windows software. And now on to the bottom line. At $259, the V10 Ultra kit is not going to be competitive against multi-$1,000 setups, and it's not even trying to accomplish that. But what it does do is create a whole new level in the entry-level market. For those who are stepping up to a direct drive wheel, or for those who are just getting into sim racing for the first time, you're going to be able to step into a higher level of performance than we've ever had before in our industry. So to an extent, you can call this a game changer. You get real force feedback that feels alive, a solid little wheel with integrated paddles, and a pedal set that's better than it has any right to be at this price point. Add in multi-platform support and even a bonus brake mod, and you've got an all-in-one setup that punches way above its weight. And with that, the multi-platform compatibility is one of the best features of this kit, because if you're really an exclusive PC sim racer, then I would urge you to look at the PXN V4 Bundle or the Moza Racing R3 Bundle. Both of these are about $30 more and plug you into the proper ecosystem with better quick releases and upgradable paths. The downside is both of those are PC only. Now, we've already reviewed the Moza R3 Bundle, and you can check it out on our YouTube page. And we are going to very soon be releasing our review of the VD4 Bundle as well, so you're going to have that for comparison. So if you're a veteran or a hardcore sim racing, this kit isn't intended to convert you over, obviously. But if you're getting into sim racing or you've been waiting to get into that direct drive wheel market, but you didn't want to break the bank, this is going to really get you the kind of performance that you're looking for and do it on a really tight budget. So I hope you enjoyed our review of the PXN V10 Ultra sim racing kit. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.